It was supposed to be the biggest day of my daughter's life. She had never been on a plane before. At 8 years old, Emma had spent months counting down the days with colorful marks on the kitchen calendar. Every evening after dinner, she'd ask the same question. "Dad, are we really flying on a real airplane?" And every time, I'd smile through my exhaustion. "Yes, sweetheart. A real one." As a single father, nothing came easily. My wife had passed away 4 years earlier after a sudden illness, leaving me with a grieving little girl and a mountain of hospital bills. Since then, life had become an endless cycle of double shifts, unpaid overtime, cheap dinners, and sleepless nights. Every dollar had a purpose. Every sacrifice had a reason. This trip wasn't a vacation. Emma had won a national science competition with a homemade water filtration project she'd built from recycled plastic bottles and old aquarium filters. Her prize included a scholarship ceremony in another state, along with 2 first-class airline tickets donated by the event sponsors. It was the first time in my life anyone had ever called me VIP. I almost declined. First class felt like a world that belonged to people with tailored suits, expensive watches, and names that opened doors. I was just a warehouse supervisor with worn-out shoes and a faded jacket. But Emma deserved every second of it. At the airport, her excitement filled every corner of the terminal. She pressed her face against the giant windows, watching planes taxi across the runway. "Dad! Look! That one's huge." People walking by smiled at her excitement. Some even congratulated her after noticing the science competition badge hanging around her neck. When boarding finally began, the gate agent scanned our passes and smiled warmly. "Congratulations, Miss Emma. We're honored to have you on board." Emma beamed. My heart felt lighter than it had in years. The first-class cabin looked unreal. Wide leather seats. Soft lighting. Fresh flowers near the entrance. A flight attendant welcomed us with genuine kindness. "Good afternoon. Seat 2A and 2B? Right this way." Emma whispered loudly enough for everyone nearby to hear. "Dad, these seats are bigger than my bed." Several passengers laughed. Not mockingly. Warmly. For once, I didn't feel judged. I helped Emma buckle her seatbelt while she explored every button within reach. "Dad, this chair massages you." I laughed. "Maybe don't press every button." She grinned mischievously. Too late. For 10 peaceful minutes, everything felt perfect. Then the peace ended. A sharply dressed man entered the cabin wearing a designer suit that probably cost more than my monthly salary. Behind him followed 2 assistants dragging expensive luggage. He stopped beside our row. His expression changed immediately. He stared at me. Then at Emma. Then back at our boarding passes resting on the armrest. His lips curled with obvious disgust. There must be some mistake. The nearby flight attendant stepped closer. "Is there a problem, sir?" "Yes." He pointed directly at me. "These people are sitting in my section." The attendant checked his boarding pass. "Sir, your assigned seat is 4A. He frowned. "I don't sit in row 4. "I'm sorry, sir, but that's the seat listed on your ticket." He leaned closer, lowering his voice just enough to sound insulting instead of loud. "You honestly expect me to believe a man dressed like that belongs in row 2? Every nearby conversation stopped. Emma looked at me. Confused. I kept my voice calm. "We're in the correct seats." He laughed. "No. You're in sponsored seats. There's a difference." I blinked. "What does that even mean?" "It means people like you don't belong in premium cabins." Emma squeezed my hand beneath the blanket. Her smile disappeared. I could feel her shrinking into herself. The flight attendant spoke again. "Sir, please return to your assigned seat." Instead, he pulled out his phone. "You know who I am?" Nobody answered. "I'm Victor Langford." He waited, apparently expecting applause. When none came, he smirked. "I invest millions in this airline every year." His assistant nodded dramatically. "The board knows Mr. Langford personally." The atmosphere changed instantly. A second flight attendant hurried over. Then another. They whispered among themselves while glancing repeatedly toward us. One disappeared behind the curtain leading to the cockpit. Minutes later, the cabin supervisor arrived. She carried the stiff smile people use when they're preparing to disappoint someone. "Sir." She looked directly at me. "I'm afraid there's been a seating issue." I frowned. "Our boarding passes were already checked." "Yes." She hesitated. "But we'd like to relocate you to economy." Emma looked up instantly. "But, why?" The supervisor avoided her eyes. "We'll make sure you're comfortable." I felt my stomach tighten. "No. I'm sorry. We paid nothing for special treatment. These tickets were awarded. They're assigned to us." She nodded. "I understand. Then why are we moving?" She glanced toward Victor, who folded his arms with a satisfied smile. "It's simply the best solution." "The best solution for whom?" Silence. Every passenger nearby watched. Some looked embarrassed. Others looked away completely. Emma's voice trembled. "Dad, did we do something wrong?" Those words cut deeper than anything Victor had said. I knelt beside her seat. "No, sweetheart." "Then why do they want us to leave?" I couldn't answer. Because there was no honest answer that an 8-year-old should have to hear. The supervisor's smile vanished. "Sir, if you refuse to move, we may have to delay departure." Victor sighed dramatically. "This is exactly why standards keep falling." His assistants chuckled. One passenger quietly muttered, "Unbelievable." I couldn't tell which side he meant. The supervisor straightened her jacket. "This is your final request." I slowly stood. Every muscle in my body wanted to argue. To yell. To demand fairness. But Emma was watching. She always watched. She learned how to face the world by watching me. So I took a deep breath. If you truly believe removing a child from the seat she earned is the right thing to do. I paused, looking around the silent cabin. Then do what you think you have to do. The supervisor gestured toward the aisle. 2 crew members stepped forward. Emma clutched her backpack tightly, tears beginning to fill her eyes as the entire first-class cabin watched in silence. 5 endless minutes later, everything was about to change in a way none of them could have imagined.